Hey everybody, and welcome to the Foundation series. Today we are doing our first lesson, standing. So go ahead and make your way onto your mat. I'm not using any props today. I don't think you'll need them. And we're going to first learn a pose called standing half moon. So you can either stand with your feet directly under your hips, or you can stand with your feet together. Either way is just fine. I prefer to stand for this pose with my feet together. My toes are touching, and there's a little bit of space between my heels so that my ankles aren't pressing right up against each other, which is kind of uncomfortable. And you want to find this neutral space for the pelvis. So I'll turn to the side and you can see what I mean. When you're standing, you don't want to be standing too tucked or too much with the tailbone flying out this way. You want to find a space right in the middle. And if you've seen one of my earlier videos, I mentioned this little tip that I learned where you can use thumbs on your hip points and your fingers down on your pubic bone, to see if they're all kind of in the same plane here, in one straight line and not tilting back and not tilting forward. That's one way to see. You can also check in a mirror and see what your posture looks like, or have a friend take a picture or a video of you as you practice. That's always super helpful. All right, so nice standing position, nice and strong. Legs are active, kneecaps pulling up slightly. Good. Pelvis is neutral. Pin the belly button in towards the spine. Relax the tops of the shoulders down away from the ears. And we'll just pause here before we move into standing half moon. Spine is long and tall. Heart space is open. Make sure you're not rounding in the upper back. So push through the heart space just a little bit. Again, not in an exaggerated posture, but just kind of a natural, easeful place where the spine is nice and tall and the head rests gently and easefully at the top of the spine. Arms can rest down by the sides, maybe with the palms facing forward and the heart space nice and open there. Close your eyes if you haven't already, or maybe just soften the gaze. And imagine yourself rooting down through all the corners of the feet, not clenching or gripping in the toes. The toes nice and relaxed. Just establishing that nice firm connection with the earth and feeling the strength in your body. Also taking a moment to dedicate yourself to this space and time on your practice here on your mat. This time is for you. All right, so let's start to move into standing half moon. We'll flutter the eyelids open. Good. Now I'm gonna reach my hands up into the air, and there are a lot of variations for the hands. So a lot of times I'll bring my hands down a little bit. You can interlace fingers, point index fingers up, or sometimes people just grab the wrist. I like to face my palm outward. I'm going to face my left palm outwards and then clasp onto the outer edge of that palm with my right hand. And from there, keeping the spine nice and long, nice and tall, I'm going to lean over to the right, stretching through the side of the body. Good. So this is standing half moon. You might move further into it. You might not move as far. But however far you move into it, just make sure that you're staying in one single plane here. So what I mean by that is you don't want to be caving in the chest space towards the ground. So you're not leaning forward. You're also not leaning back. You're just kind of leaning to one side. So the whole body is in one plane of space here. And don't hold your breath. Keep breathing. And we'll take it to the other side. Come up through center. My left hand clasps the outer edge of my right palm. And I'll lean to my left. Perfect. Keep breathing. And we'll come back to center and draw hands down to heart center, Anjali Mudra, prayer hands. Good. Next, we are going to learn a half sun salutation. This is your first sun salutation. It's very exciting. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see some of this a little bit better. There's some things I want you to see from the side. So, again, you can have feet hip distance apart, or you can have feet together, your choice, yogi's choice. And keep the pelvis in neutral alignment. Belly button pen to the spine. Relax the tops of the shoulders down away from the ears. Feel the strength of your body, strong legs, nice and open heart. Breath is rolling easily in and out the nose. Good. So this first time we move through a half sun salutation, I am not going to cue the breath. We'll just go through the movements really slowly, and then after that you'll learn it with the breath. So first, reach the arms up to the sky. You can touch palms if you like, and you can even lift your gaze up to your palms. And then we will fold. So really important, we're going to hinge from the hips. If it helps, you can bring your hands down to your hips and feel where your hip crease is. That's where you should be moving. So the spine's not rounding, pelvis isn't tucking. We've got the spine nice and long here as we move. And also, I'm bending my knees. That's really important, especially if you're new to the practice. Keep your knees nice and bent, especially for the first one of these forward folds in a class. And your forward fold may look like this. You don't need to look like a pancake. You don't need to go all the way down. Your forward fold can be here. If you're feeling something in the backs of the legs and you're like, ooh, I'm stopping here, that's okay. So we'll come into a forward fold. My knees are nice and bent. And at some point, the spine will start to round a little bit and relax, and that's okay. But we do want to remember to come down with a nice long spine and hinge from the hips and not hinge from anywhere in the back. We're protecting the back here. After we fold, we halfway lift. So hands can be placed in lots of different places for a halfway lift. I like to, especially when I first started my practice, drag my hands all the way up my legs and rest my palms on my thighs as I halfway lift and come up into a number 7 shape here, like an upside down L. So this is a great pose to check in a mirror or have a picture taken of yourself so you can see if your spine is nice and long. Sometimes you'll hear it called flat back position. So that movement is again from this hip hinge right here. And my knees are still bent to help me work my way into the backs of the legs easily here and not strain any ligaments or push myself too far too fast. And the reason I like to have my hands here on my thighs is because I imagine a nice long spine kind of parallel with this upper arm where my elbows are bending. But you could also have your hands on your shins, or some people will just keep their fingertips on the ground for this halfway lift. After we halfway lift, we fold once more. And again, knees can stay bent. Good. And one thing that's nice, especially in the beginning of a class, is to kind of heel toe the feet out towards the edges of your mat. Clasp opposite elbows and just sway side to side a little bit. Just to help yourself ease into that first forward fold. Again, we're easing into the backs of the legs. Good. All right, so let's come back up. We've halfway lifted, and now we're gonna sweep the arms all the way up and come back to a neutral standing pose. Good. So we're going to move through that sequence again, but this time we're going to connect it with the breath. All right, so find your neutral standing posture here. Feet are rooting down into the earth. All the corners of your feet are grounded, not clenching in the toes. Strong legs, kneecaps slightly lifted, neutral pelvis, belly button pinning into the spine, heart space open, tops of the shoulders melting down away from the ears, the neck is long. And let's bring the palms to face forward as we open the heart space. Head is resting easily at the top of the spine. All right, ready? Take a deep breath in as you sweep the arms up. And exhale, forward fold, bend your knees if you want, hinge from your hips. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. And exhale, come back to neutral standing. Let's do it again right away. Inhale, reach the arms up. And exhale, hinge from the hips, bend the knees, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. And exhale, let's go all the way back down. Last time, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep the arms all the way up. And exhale, come back to neutral standing, palms by your side. Relax the tops of the shoulders. Job well done. So that is a great way. If you just have a few minutes in your day and you need to, warm up the body, get the blood flowing, that's a great way to do it. Just moving through a few half sun salutations. And now you have that under your belt. So that's a big deal. Good job. We're going to end with one more standing pose. And this is a really important foundational pose, tree pose, because it's really important for us to practice standing on one leg. It's super good for your body. All right, so I'm going to stand on my left leg first. So root down through the foot. Find a nice strong body in your standing position. And you can keep the toes on the ground and just prop the right heel up against above the ankle, not on the ankle, but right above the ankle. And this might be your tree pose. You can keep your hands on your hips if you like to help you feel more stable. And if you're just now starting to work on balance, this is a really great place to stay. Or you can start to pick up that foot and place it on the calf. And if you're ready to go a little further, you can even bring that foot up into the thigh. And you really want to have this action of pressing back with the thigh into the foot. So you've got this counter push with the foot and the leg there. You can keep hands on hips, or you can start to grow branches. If you're having trouble with balance, as we all do from time to time, a couple of tips. First, try squeezing the glute in the standing leg. This is the glute in your left leg. Try squeezing that. Wobbling is normal. That can help. Another thing to do is fix your gaze on one point in space. So really just concentrate, focus on, a spot on the wall. Good. So we're going to switch sides. Go ahead and let that go. And this time we'll stand on the right leg. You can keep your toes on the ground. You can heel your foot to your calf. Don't plant your foot on your knee. We want to keep pressure off that joint. You can also bring your foot all the way up to the inside of your thigh. Good. All right. There are other versions of this pose. There's one where there's a half lotus leg. That's for another time. That's not, I don't think, something that's accessible for everybody, especially if you have knee issues, which I do. All right, if you lose your balance, it's okay. You can also reach your hand out to a wall or a chair to help you start building that balance. We're gonna let this go after 3, 2, and 1. All right, so you've done your first standing class, and I'm excited to see you next time. Namaste.